Greetings, chess fans. Greetings from Bajina Bashta in Serbia. I'm continuing my adventures in this small village next to the border of Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, playing in Serbian First League as part of my preparation for the upcoming FIDE World Cup, which starts late October. This is classical chess. Again, very strong opposition. Every round I'm getting a GM, like 11 games in total. This is going to be round number 3. So very, very serious prep for the most important tournament of the year. So I was playing with a black color against none other than Aleksandar Indjic. Now, this name might be familiar to you. Who is Indjic? Well, he is a European champion. He won the European Individual Chess Championships back in 2024 with 9 points out of 11. It was absolutely crazy performance with no losses. I mean, there is a new European champion because in 2025, the new champion was none other than Matthias Blubaum, who, by the way, just recently played really well in the Grand Swiss, secured himself a spot in the candidates. But I mean, Indjic is the previous champion. I think the tournament was held in November. And 2650 ELO guy. A guy who was working with Alexander Morozevich. At least that was the rumor. So very, very serious opposition. 4-time Serbian champion as well. So what to do? And I was playing with a black color and I was thinking, I have to test more openings. And I decided to play the Queen's Gambit declined. So I have more than one surprise prepared. I mean, what do you think I've been doing for the past couple of months? I was obviously doing a lot of content at home. I was doing the commentary, but I'm also preparing for the FIDE World Cup. And I want to make sure that I can play new openings or at least test them if they're good or not, so that I become more unpredictable. He played knight c3, knight f6, knight f3. This is what he usually does. And I played the Semitarash with c5. Now, this is a very interesting setup. I'm immediately challenging the center, and very often I'm getting positions where I get an IQP. I select the queen's pawn structure, but I'm perfectly happy with this. Like, for example, takes, 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 takes. Black is doing absolutely great, strong pawn in the center, easy development, and let's worry about things later. So, I prepared literally everything, except e3, of course. e3 is a move I saw passing by, like I was repeating all my files, what's written there. I mean, this is usually the process of any chess professional. What do you think they're doing in the mornings before the game? Because the game here in Bajina Bashta, it starts at 4 p.m. What do you think we're doing in the morning? We're preparing for the games, right? So, okay, I'm doing some other stuff as well, right? I'm recording the videos and I'm even doing some training sessions for the upcoming coach champs. So my schedule right now is just going completely crazy and I have to do everything at the same time. But normally we're spending for every single game prep at least several hours. And this is the move I didn't really check because it's not very ambitious. And Indjic normally you would play c6 on d5 here, or instead of this position, sometimes he will play bishop g5, either with a knight on 3 or the knight on c3. And this is something I didn't check. Like I checked 9 lines and he played the 10th line. All right, what to do? So I took on c4. I vaguely remember this choice as one of the easiest continuations. I play a6. My idea is to play b5, bishop b7, see what happens. Very easy plan. And if white plays a4, actually this is not really such an obvious choice for white at all, because I can play knight c6 and play these positions. For example, takes, takes, we get an IQP position. And if you want to get more in depth to understand what's going on in these positions, is that white's typical idea is to put the bishop on b1, queen on c2 or d3 and build up some attacking chances. But typically the pawn has to be on a3, not on a4. So with the knight on b4, for white it's so much more difficult to start a king's head attack. Well, I just play bishop d7, rook c8, and just continue development. So that's why this a4, it's not such an obvious choice. And Indjic rejected this. He played a short castle. I play b5. And white has two main moves here. It's either bishop b3 or bishop e2. I think bishop b3 is considered to be a bit more aggressive. This is what he played because it clearly hints at some e4 ideas. And with the bishop on b3, white is looking at the pawn on e6 for some action. So bishop e2 is also a move. Like, there's some nuances. I'm not going to really bore you with the details. So I can put the pieces here. Maybe, let's say, if I play knight e7, white goes here. Or if I play bishop b7, white suddenly takes it. And there's a very cool idea to trade the queens and put the knight on b3, knight a5, and a4. Apply some pressure against black. But I mean, black ultimately is doing great. So he played bishop b3. I play bishop b7. He played e4. Now, I know this line vaguely from some of my previous coaching. Like, I could not recall the line in the files, but I could work with some students who play this line from the black's perspective. And I know, of course, accepting the pawn is dangerous. Like, if I take it here, white plays rook e1, there's some problems here, and white just very quickly opens up the position, and I don't think this pawn is worth so much trouble. So I just played c takes on d4. He took with the knight, and I played knight c6. In the hindsight, I think I could have played also knight e7, but since I was not very familiar with the position at the time, I hadn't really repeated any lines, I just didn't really want to check if this line works. Knight takes on e6, very common idea in sacrificing the Sicilians, and white suddenly plays knight e5. So the point is queen e6 is going to be knight c7. I cannot do that, but I can take with the bishop, I can play king f7. It looks a bit scary. I have a piece for two pawns, but I just was not in the mood to go here. I mean, now I know, of course, that it's not possible for white to do this. And if white cannot sacrifice on e6, I'm just playing knight c5 and pushing back the attacking bishop. Like this, this, and this. Yeah, so I'm just doing great. So knight e7 is also an option, but I play knight c6. I just want to liquidate. And I didn't really check what happens after bishop e3. Can I already take the pawn here? It's possible. It looks a bit risky. And I thought in the worst case scenario, I can probably just play something like rook c8 or bishop e7, complete development. Again, watch out for the bishop e6 idea at any time. But he took on c6. And I think I have to include the queen trade, because if I don't do it, he can play queen e2. And the very common idea for white is to play e5 and gain space. So let's say I play bishop e7, he plays e5. I guess I had to play knight e7 because knight e5 jumps under some rook d1 problems, and my knight on d5 is having some issues, let's put it this way. And after knight e7, a common thing is to play queen g4, attack the pawn, and if I play short castle, bishop h6 is an oopsie. Yeah, so suddenly I have problems. And if I play g6, well, my king is never going to be safe. Maybe there's already some sacrifice on e6 here, for example, right now, right? So it's not really so simple. And also I think that this is a common misunderstanding, especially at the club level, that sometimes players think that if the pawn structure is symmetrical, there's no danger. No, actually, it's quite the opposite. So everything really matters on your piece activity. So that's why I got the queens off the board. I took on c6. I was simply out with the book, but I thought, I mean, how bad can it be, right? Because even if I'm having a slightly worse position, I'm going to figure it out. And I already got my first-hand experience from playing some games in the tournament where my opponents were able to, like, not multiple, but specifically Kartikayana was able to hold on a slightly worse position by playing the perfect defense. So this just felt like a healthy position. So I was feeling pretty optimistic about my chances. I thought e5 was very interesting here. And I thought maybe knight g4. I can play bishop f4, bishop c5, counterattack here. He plays bishop g3. I was looking some h5 ideas. And if he plays h3, I can play h4. takes and takes. So there's all kinds of interesting possibilities for me. I was not sure that e5 is the correct move, but he played very quickly f3. So, of course, I want to stop him playing bishop e3. I give a check, king f1, and knight e7. So this is also something that I can recommend to anyone. When you are not sure what to do, and that's the principle I always repeat to my students, you can always improve your pieces. And the knight on f6 doesn't do anything. You see white has built a very nice pawn structure to limit my knight's activity. So I just give it a different role. And also I felt that this is maybe not the best moment to castle, because when it comes to the castling, I believe in the principle you should castle for two main reasons. So reason number one is secure the king. A reason number two is connect the rooks. But if the king is already secure, and if the queens are off the board, you don't have to castle. Because why would you castle short and then a couple of moves later run to the center anyway? Because you need to activate the king for the upcoming endgame, right? So that's why I wanted to keep the king in the center. And knight e7 is like a preparation move for the move king e7 and rook d8. And I didn't really like king e7 immediately, because he can play e5 and bishop g5. So I saw this line, and I was not really feeling to go there, because if I play f6, takes, there's a very strong move rook e1. Now the pawn is hit, the bishop on c6 is hanging. If I play e5, bishop h4, well, let's just put it this way, my king is in the harm's way. Like, it's not secure, and white has a lot of pieces, and probably some knight e5 is going to give white a pretty significant two-bishop advantage in a semi-open position. But what I did not see is king e8. And this is a very concrete position where black is doing great, like this. He's just in time to rearrange everything, protects the bishops here against some tricks at the c file. He's doing great. So I didn't really know this. I played knight e7. And what I could immediately see, that my opponent was quite surprised by the entire turn of events. First, I think he was just very unhappy how easily I got a nice position. I mean, I have never played this line in my life. Obviously, he couldn't have known this. And after the game, he told me he was preparing for all kinds of other continuations. And the second factor is that Indjic just came from FIDE Grand Swiss. So there was this huge Swiss tournament being held in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, 11 rounds, really tough schedule. And he basically had 1 day of rest before the start of the Serbian League. So I could feel it. I could feel in his body language that he was tired. Also, Ivan Cheparinov, my round 1 opponent, was playing the Grand Swiss. And let's just put it this way, they're not exactly fresh for the tournament. I mean, coming after such a gruesome tournament, it definitely feels tough for the players. I know what I'm talking about. I played in the Grand Swiss in 2021. And as recently Jan Gustafsson joked in a chess.com commentary, I was planning energy for 11 rounds and I got only for 2. I had enough for 2. So anyway, I didn't go there. And this is the moment when Indjic rushed. He played a4. That's a move I simply did not understand it, because he's not threatening anything. And I think his idea was that I'm going to automatically respond b4. He's going to play knight e2, knight e4, bishop e3, and these are targets. So it's a nice idea in theory, but I don't have to react. And after king e7, I think right now Indjic realized that he just made a silly move. The point is, I just want to complete development. This trade just gives me the control of the a file. And I also might play b4 and bishop e5 at the right moment. I mean, why should I be even worse at all? And as it happens, he had to continue, not a4, but knight e2. Rook c8, knight e4, probably I retreat, and this position is just so equalish. I mean, okay, there's some tricks in this position. I'm, again, not going to bore you with details, but black ultimately is doing perfectly fine. Yeah, so again, I cannot imagine here black having any real issues. But he played a4, I played here, and he played pretty quickly a5. And I understood what he wants. He wanted to get the bishop on b4, like this. Trade the bishop, put the knight on b4. apply long-standing pressure against opponent a6 in the long run. But as you can probably suspect, all of this is really wishful thinking. Like, it's going to take him forever. And even if he is going to do it, like bishop e2, knight a4, bishop b4, okay, I'm going to put the bishop on b7. So what? I mean, how do you plan to get to the pawn on a6? It was just not a good plan. And what I was thinking is that he's simply wrong. And I think after he played this, he realized it. This was simply a silly idea. And now the pawn on a5 becomes a liability for white. So, quite unexpectedly, I realized I'm better. I'm simply better. So what I didn't know how much I'm better. Like, is it like slightly better? Is it like a lot better? Probably not a lot better because white has done nothing criminally wrong. But I'm already playing from position of strength. So, how do I capitalize on the advantage? And this actually caught me on a funny thought. Like, I'm so used to play slightly worse positions after the opening with black for my entire life. Like, I have played the Dutch defense, which gives technically, according to Stockfish, worse positions all my entire life. I have played Queen's Indian defense, always slight pressure for white. I have played Queen's Gambit declined with a6, slightly better for white. And suddenly I'm dealt with cards that say that I'm slightly better. So what should I do? So I thought maybe I should first equalize a better position and then start to play from scratch. Of course not. I didn't do that, but it was pretty funny because I just didn't expect that I'll have this great position. So how to continue? And yeah, I had many ideas here. I thought I could play like knight e5 with the idea to stop, with the idea to play rook d8 and knight e3. He would go here. I was not feeling very hot about knight c4. Like, it was an idea, but takes, he could rearrange the pieces eventually. I mean, that's kind of weakness. Maybe play this, put the bishop on c3 or d4. Is this a good position? It's not a bad position, but is it great? I'm not really sure. Then I was thinking I would play f6 with rook d8 and knight e3. But what if he takes it and he plays rook c1 with some clear ideas to play knight e5? Or even Engine actually here says he can play knight e5 immediately. And now play rook c1. And king d6 simply doesn't work because of bishop d5 and I'm just losing. And it's just a draw immediately. I didn't see this particular sacrifice, but I felt like rook c1 is definitely there. So I discarded this and I played rook c8. And this is where the Engine surprised me after the game. I mean, it said it was not the best move. So the best move was rook h to c8. For whatever idea. Why the rook on e8 is important, I quite did not understand it. So anyway, I'm a human being. I played rook c8. I continue improving my pieces. I played bishop b7. He played knight e4. Like, I was not very happy that I allowed him to rearrange the knight on d4 and put the bishop on e3. And I kind of regretted this. I thought maybe I should have played rook h to d8 first, so that he is not in time to rearrange the piece, but actually Stockfish says it doesn't really matter. He does it anyway. There's not much I can do. All right, so I play rook c8, I play bishop b7. h6 was a very nice move because I felt that he's threatening some bishop b5 checks. Let's say I go here, he gives a check here, and now he plays bishop something. So I have some problems with this pawn, or maybe even a bishop h4, I'm not really sure. And that's a problem. I don't want to take on d4. I mean, if I want to equalize, of course I can do it, like this. I can do it, but I don't want to give up the two bishops just like that. And also there was a moment when I was thinking here. Yeah, I played h6. Wait, I think it was here. I was thinking about forcing things with rook d8, knight e4, takes, knight c5, he takes on d8, bishop c2, and like knight e3, it's just a draw. And if I play b4, bishop b5, I felt like I'm definitely not playing for the win here. So why would I play for a draw from a better position? So that's why I decided to play h6, stops any bishop g5 business. I played rook d8, king e2. So I'm still pressing a bit, and most of the time I was trying to figure out how do I apply pressure against this pawn. Like if I play bishop b4, he's going to play bishop d2. And if let's say I play bishop b4, what if he doesn't react? And this is, by the way, Indjic said. Indjic said you have to go this. He plays h4. He fights for space at the king side. What I'm doing next, like I didn't really see. Here the Indjic says I could have played knight c5 and f5. I didn't see this idea. The idea is to play e5, attack the knight. There's some pressure against the bishop, and there's some weird knight a4. Hitting the pawn, hitting the bishop, and black is slightly better. Okay, it's a very difficult line, to be honest. So I played bishop d6. I tried to apply some pressure. I was thinking maybe knight c5, attack the bishop, or knight e5, knight c4. So yeah, he should have played h4, fight for space, also protect the pawn. But instead he played bishop f2. And this is the moment when I had, according to an Indjic, a pretty large advantage. Like just much better position. But I had to figure out that the knight belongs on c5, which was not very clear to me because I knew one thing. I don't want to trade the bishop because it's just a silly bishop, just like mine on b7. So he goes here, and now I play king e8. So the big idea is to play some g6, e5 idea. And I go here and here and here, and I'm kind of better, but again, nothing decisive. So these are some Indjic lines. And I'm better, but I'm not having any progress. So I did not understand it. Also, the Indjic liked the knight c5 and b4 idea quite a bit. And again, I'm not sure why would I want to play b4 at all. Like, what's the idea? I'm not really trying to play b3. Why would I make the pawn on b4 as a weakness? I mean, this would make sense with a bishop on d7, that in some lines I play bishop b5. But here I just don't understand it. So I play knight e5. And I was provoking him some f4 stuff. Let's say he plays f4, which of course is a big mistake. He would give me a check. I play f6, he plays e5. So I saw this line and I thought that because of my piece activity, if somebody is worse, it's definitely white. Like, okay, I can ruin my pawn structure, but that's a target, that's a target, that's a target. So, of course, he didn't go there. He played h4. I played g5. And I was hoping maybe he's going to play bishop e3 first. This would be a pretty serious mistake because I can take on h4, play rook g8, and suddenly I go for a king set attack. Look at this, how suddenly the white king is under a very serious pressure. The queen side is locked away, nothing is happening, and I'm just having this huge initiative at the king side. Of course, he took it. He played bishop e3, and I had envisioned this, that I would play king f6. f6, I'm sorry, no, g4 was a move, of course, but he would give me a check and go back. And again, you see this pawn is hit. So I need a pawn on f7. I cannot do that. I play king f6. But also, one very important thing that was happening was that my opponent was playing very quickly. So he slightly misplayed the opening, and he was applying to me a lot of pressure. So he was at some point having extra 45 minutes on the clock. I was spending time, I knew I'm better, and I was trying to figure out where to position the pieces, etc. I don't want to play cheaply for the draw, I want to play for more, but how exactly to do it? And yeah, here he played rook c1. So I'm thinking, okay, if I have a chance to go after the pawn, it's got to be here. So I'm thinking, can I play bishop b4? It looks very reasonable because the idea is that he could have played bishop d2. This leaves the knight on d4 under attack. And if he would take on c8 and play bishop d2 here, I think I can take it. If he plays something like rook takes on d2, maybe rook h8 is an idea, or maybe I can play some rook c5 b4 ideas. Probably he's holding on, but I'm still doing some stuff. Like I'm applying some pressure. And this is where kicks in the training. You recognize patterns. And I felt that there might be a tactical problem. And I immediately spotted that, I don't know where or how, I spotted he might play bishop e6. So the idea of bishop e6 is, if I play f takes on e6, he takes on g5. My rook on d8 is hit. So if I take it, knight e6, I'm just immediately busted, like 3 pawns for the rook, 3 pawns and the rook for the 2 minor pieces. This is very dangerous. If I play king f7, takes, and boom. Takes, boom. I'm just losing. Yeah, so I cannot do that. So I saw this, and if I decide to take on c1 first, if I take it here, take, again, same trick, f takes, bishop g5, knight e6, that's a fork, and I'm just playing a worse position. So I could play bishop b4, but what can I do? So what's my next move? And I'm thinking, I could play knight c6, I mean, then I'm never going to win the pawn on a5, and the knight on e5 stands fantastic. I'm thinking I could maybe trade and now play bishop b4. But again, bishop e6 might be a thing, right? That's one thing. The second thing is, what about rook c7? Rook d7 takes, and the simple move bishop d2. So again, I felt like this is one of those positions where the reward is much less than the risk. And this is also a very famous term among the chess professionals. You're thinking how much I'm risking and how big is the reward. And I just felt like there's so much risk and almost no reward. So how do I continue? So I decided that the rook pair doesn't really matter here. So I'm dealing with this bishop e6 trick. Like, I just didn't see any other move. And here the engine says I could have played knight g6. But after king f2, I just don't see how I'm continuing. Where's the threat? Knight f4 leads me nowhere. And maybe bishop e5, he just goes here. I mean, knight c6 is always a threat. Takes. Again, yeah, everything looks just equalish. So I played rook c8. I mean, maybe I could have played rook g8, apply some pressure since the c file is irrelevant, but he can just do nothing, essentially. Yeah, offer the trade, g4, maybe again white just stands and does nothing, or just go for the counterattack. I just realized I have nothing. And I played rook c8, which basically is a draw offer. But at the moment, I think I already had like 12 minutes on the clock. My opponent had like 50. So he spent about 10 minutes. He played rook c8 and offered a draw. And of course, I agree, because there's not much to play on. The point is, let's say we take it here. We are going to trade the knights. I don't know what kind of moves could they be. Like this, everything just disappears. Yeah, like takes, e5, f6, locked position, completely symmetrical, only bishops on the board, no weaknesses for the opponent. And after the game, he said he was thinking also some rook h1, just to go for some cheap tricks. Knight g6 and rook h7 for some tricks like take on e6. The bishop on b7 is hit. But even if I blunder this, yeah, like I still have a lot of activity. The pawn on b2 is hit. So again, there's no reward for white for a lot of risk. And that's why we decided to agree to a draw. I was like having pretty mixed feelings about the game. Like, from one hand, I just made a solid draw against the former European champion, a very serious player. He's either number 1 or number 2 Serbian player. And currently at his peak right now, even though slightly tired, and he was able to pose me no problems with the white color. So this was like very good news for my preparation for the World Cup. I always have believed you're just as good as your black color is. So my black color is doing fantastic. I'm able to hold my ground against some very good opposition. But also I felt like I was a bit disappointed that I misplayed such a great position. But ultimately, again, I was slightly better at times, but nothing really great. And I think that I also will have to work myself on these symmetrical positions. I was quite happy with the plan of knight e5 and g5. I liked it. Visually, it looked really great. But yeah, engine says this knight c5 and king e8, g6, e5 idea is better. Anyway, that was the game. And while you're watching it, I'm right now playing round number 4 against a very strong Hungarian grandmaster, Ferenc Berkes from Hungary. I have played against him before, I think 10 years ago or maybe more, when he was 2700. So Berkic was a 2700 level player. Now he has dropped like 100 rating points. He's a very solid player. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat him. I'll definitely try. But in the meantime, thank you for watching the recap. Hope you enjoyed it. Press like if you like it. Write some comments. Are you following the Serbian Team Chess Championships? And for the moment, I'm saying goodbye to you and have a great day.